that extra COVID swab and Davis didn't.
We're Ryan and Abby, and for a little over a year we've been traveling full time, though COVID changed a lot of our plans. But now the world is starting to open back up, and for the first time in over a year, Greece is welcoming back tourists, and we couldn't be more excited. Greece has been on our bucket list for a long time, so after about a month exploring the beauties of Albania, we are ready to take you to Greece. I love Greece. Our process was pretty easy. We took the direct flight from Tirana, Albania straight to Athens, and all we needed was a negative PCR test within 72 hours. No problem. Recognize this guy? Welcome to Greece. So today we start our series on ancient Athens. So we're standing in the middle of the Parthenon Way, which is the major street through ancient Athens. So the Acropolis, from our understanding, is like the religious center. It's high on the hill, it's where the Parthenon is. But the Agora that we're going to explore today is the commercial center. It's where the markets were, it's where transactions took place, it's where democracy was first formed, and the first votes were made by pottery shards. This is the place where the real people of Athens lived and worked and had political intrigue. There's some temples here as well, but this is like the heart of the city. Temple of Hephaestus, the god of blacksmiths. The guide in front of us just said that it is the best preserved temple in all of Greece. So the Temple of Hephaestus was built between 460 and 416 BC. So it's literally stood on this hill for like 2,500 years. Crazy. Sorry y'all, I'm filming on my phone because we're not allowed to have the big camera in here. But the guide in front of us was just saying that the Temple of Hephaestus is one of the best preserved in Greece, but also that the fact that there's only reliefs and decoration on the front and not all the way around signified that it was a cheaply made temple, which I find super funny that like the one who was thrown up in a few years and cheaply made is the one that's like withstood them all and is in the best condition of anyone I've ever seen. It's kind of funny. Unfortunately, the homes of the regular average people really don't still stand, except for a few mosaic tile floors. View from the top of the Agora Museum. Beautiful. Alright guys, so just across from the Agora there's a whole slew of restaurants along the Parthenon Way, but we stopped at one called Beta Athens, and we're kind of breaking our own rules. Generally, we don't stop at restaurants where they're like out in the street poorly trying to get you in the street, because it's not something that we seek to love, even though it's normal in a lot of cultures. And this girl was super sweet, and it's a cute restaurant with a great view, so we have we've broken our own rule, and we're going to pay way too much for lunch probably. But it's right in between where we came from and where we're going, and so we decided to splurge today. So we're on this super cute patio, and we're going to try two traditional dishes. Mine is called the Santorini tomato balls, and Ryan is going to have the zucchini balls. So we'll see. So we have a tomato ball, the zucchini ball, and some yummy looking yogurt dip here. Yeah, these are gonna need a second. They're super hot. So these are stuffed with like peppers. So it looks like the zucchini one has zucchini, carrots, maybe some kind of olive oil, maybe some cheese. The tomato one definitely has like some feta, some breading, some spices, tomato in there. They smell delightful. I'm just gonna go ahead and burn my mouth because, you know, that's what we do here on this channel. Look very fancy. That was delicious and pretty worth it. Now we just got some little cheap appetizers, but I will say the guys next to us and everybody around us that's ordered food, they have 3 different dishes and some drinks, and it all looks beautiful and delicious. Like, it's really well presented. It looks tasty. So, recommend. So here in Kerameikos ruins, is the best fortified part, or is the best preserved part of Athens' fortification wall. So it was built in the 400s BC at the urging of Themistocles to protect the city from the Persians. And apparently this is there were 13 gates to it, and one of the most important ones was here at Kerameikos. So the site of Kerameikos, it means Keramis in ancient Greek, and I'm probably not saying that right, but it means the potters or the ceramics. So this was the area of the city where the potters congregated, and then it was turned into a burial ground, and then eventually those monuments were built into the wall, the safety wall by Themistocles. So it says that here in Kerameikos was the biggest gate of antiquity, and its 4 towers mark the gateway into the city of Athens. This was the main entrance into Athens. And it was funny because it said that the 4 towers made a courtyard to trap besiegers or anyone trying to get into the city illegally. But the second use of the giant courtyard was for merchants and peddlers, or at least they like to congregate there. So I guess it's just always been a thing. Okay, so Kerameikos. If you're a history lover, I would say it's definitely worth a few minutes here for you. Best part of it, a lot of those reliefs and like funerary monuments and stuff, even from 500 BC or 600 BC, were in really, really good shape, especially inside the museum. You can actually read the inscriptions of like the person who was buried and read a little bit about them. And so anyway, it's kind of interesting, so give it a shot. Also, it is on your Athens pass, so if you paid for your $30 combination ticket to Athens, Kerameikos is on it. Every time I see these Greek, Roman, Byzantine, mosaic floors, I just can't help but thinking how long that must have taken with all these itty bitty pieces. Like, would not want that dude's job. This is the Temple of Olympion Zeus, named so, it's one of Zeus's names because he's the head of the Olympic god. So the temple was started in the 6th century BC, so like the 500s, but it wasn't actually completed until the 2nd century AD by Hadrian. Dude, Hadrian built everything, all over Italy, all over Greece. If you don't know who built it, it was probably Hadrian. So anyway, Hadrian finished it up, and for a while it was known as the largest temple in all of Greece, and it held a humongous cult statue of Zeus that obviously isn't here anymore. At one point there were 104 of these colossal columns.
Alright, good morning guys. Hey, today we are at the Acropolis. We're on the south side. There's a lot of cool little, almost like cave type temples and nice little area, so we're gonna explore that first today.
Woohoo! So even though we haven't been told directly that we can't have our camera equipment, we have been told that in other places here. So they didn't say anything to us today. So we're gonna try to be discreet, but I don't know. So here on the south slopes, the Theater of Dionysus from about 300 BC. Alright guys, so we just found out that Dionysus apparently was one of Zeus's kids that he had with a mortal, because if you read any Greek mythology, you know Zeus would be like all over the place with the ladies. Which is crazy because he got a mean wife and she's not about that. But anyway, Dionysus was one of his kiddos, and apparently he was a weird god, like a provocative god. He and also was the god of the theater. And I found out from the tour guide that we were hanging conspicuously close to again, that that's where theater masks come from. So like the Venetian masks were like a symbol of him. So there you go, big theater, weird god. Alright, it's so funny to me, like we're at the Acropolis, one of the famous ancient sites in the world, and like 50 people have stopped to take a picture of a turtle. Alright guys, so we have made it to the Parthenon and we have found the people.
Yep.
Look at this entrance. So this giant entry complex is the shrine of Athena, who is the goddess of Athens. So girlfriend gets to be center front stage.
Just pick up the phone and call me. I'll be there. Girl, let me show you. You're my one and only, like I told you. I'll be there. And if you get blue, I got the loving for you. Yeah, I'll be there. Your kills me, but your loving, it thrills me. I'll be there.
Hey, you know what we forgot?
What's that?
Rick Steves.
Oh yeah.
So the sign over here said that the Parthenon was completely destroyed in 1687 because it was bombed. And they left it that way till like the 1900s. Started restoring it in like 1900 to 1930. But the iron clamps and the reinforced concrete they used corroded and started destroying the marble. So they stopped and eventually restarted, I believe it said in 1987 or sometime in the 80s. And it has been at work ever since. I guess it's a really slow process to do it correctly.
Yes.
And not tear stuff up. However, it's sort of sad, sort of good because it's preserved, but sort of sad, like even when they finish, they really won't be able to put it all back together because a lot of the reliefs are like in the Louvre in Paris, or probably a lot of other places too. So this concludes our trip to the Acropolis because fortunately or unfortunately the whole north slopes of the Acropolis are under construction right now. So they're reconstructing some stuff over there. So we gonna go to the museum. So it's super crazy. The Acropolis Museum is actually built over the ancient slopes of the Acropolis where people's homes and stuff were. So as you're walking on the floor, you see all the ruins like down below you. Pretty cool. So the entire Acropolis Museum is built on top of an ancient Roman bath. And we think you can get down there somehow, though we're not sure how. So, the Acropolis Museum. It is not included on your $30 Athens City Pass, or €30. So it is an extra charge. It is €10 per person extra. If you're a super history nerd, probably worth it for you. I don't really know though if it would be worth it for most people.
I think
It's a lot of reading.
yeah.
There's not like a lot of interactive stuff for kids or anything like that. And this is not a negative. This is just
No.
like pointing out there's some really beautiful reliefs in there.
Yeah.
Some really beautiful sculptures, some really amazing pieces. The original maidens from the first Athena temple on the Acropolis are up there, so those are really beautiful.
I think if you had an audio guide
Yeah,
of some sort, it would be way
Yeah.
more. 'Cause it was, like I said, there was a ton of reading there, and there was a lot. But if you had an audio guide to kind of
Yeah.
explain what each section was, which I think they probably had those, we just didn't get them.
I didn't
or
see any.
I didn't see anything that promoted them. But you could probably download a
Or get you a
guide.
guide. There were archaeologists available that you could
Yeah.
ask, and you can also pay for a guided tour of the museum. So
Yeah.
we did listen in on a few of those. That might be worth it. If
Yeah.
you do the museum, it might be worth it to take a guided tour of it.
Mhm.
If you've seen the Acropolis, I wouldn't say it's an absolute must to see the Acropolis Museum. But if you love history, you like museums, you want to take a break from the heat and be in a beautiful air-conditioned room and try to imagine some of the things that would have originally been on the Parthenon and the other temples of the Acropolis, then go for it. We found a sunset rock. Well, that concludes all of ancient Athens. Sometimes Athens gets a bad rap, but honestly, we found it delightful. For more information on the Athens Pass, check the link down in the description. And of course, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, because Greece is an epic country and you don't want to miss any of these next few videos. Stay tuned for next week when we show you all the free things to do in Athens. Now get lost!